The silence that followed was deafening. Sarah remained motionless behind the rocks, her rifle still trained on the compound below. Her hands trembled slightly as the reality of her situation sank in. Her entire team was gone, and she was alone behind enemy lines with an impossible mission ahead of her. The intelligence they had died for was still locked inside that fortress, and now it was up to her to retrieve it. Hours passed as Sarah watched the compound through her scope. The enemy soldiers were celebrating their victory, believing they had eliminated the threat completely. They had no idea that one survivor remained hidden on the ridge above them. Sarah used this time to study their routines, counting guards and noting their patrol patterns. She would need every advantage she could get. The compound was even more heavily defended than their original intelligence had suggested. Sarah counted at least 60 armed guards, not the 40 they had been told about. There were machine gun nests at every corner, motion sensors around the perimeter, and guards with attack dogs patrolling the outer fence. The main building where the intelligence was stored looked like an impenetrable fortress. As dawn approached, Sarah made a difficult decision. She couldn't attempt the mission during daylight hours when visibility would work against her. Instead, she would need to wait another full day, using the time to plan her approach carefully. The thought of waiting while the enemy relaxed their guard was frustrating, but patience would be crucial for success. Sarah retreated deeper into the forest to find a safe hiding place. She discovered a small cave concealed behind thick vegetation, perfect for remaining hidden during the day. Inside, she carefully inventoried her supplies. She had enough food and water for 3 days, plenty of ammunition for her rifle, and basic medical supplies. Most importantly, she had the specialized equipment needed to crack the electronic locks on the intelligence vault. The day passed slowly as Sarah planned her assault. She drew detailed maps in the dirt, marking guard positions and timing their patrols. The main building had 3 floors, with the intelligence vault located in the basement level. There were 2 main entrances and several emergency exits, but all were heavily monitored. The building's design made it almost impossible to enter undetected. Sarah studied the guard rotations and noticed a pattern. Every 4 hours there was a brief 15-minute window when the guards changed shifts and the searchlights were temporarily shut down for maintenance. During this time, the compound's defenses were at their weakest. It wasn't much of an opportunity, but it might be enough for someone with the right skills and determination. As evening approached, Sarah prepared for her mission. She blackened her face with mud and secured all her equipment to prevent any noise. Her rifle was equipped with a silencer, and she carried her sidearm as backup. The electronic lockpicking device was carefully wrapped and secured in her vest pocket, along with the portable hard drive needed to copy the intelligence files. The plan was simple in concept, but incredibly dangerous in execution. Sarah would use the cover of darkness to descend from the ridge and approach the compound during the guard change. She would need to eliminate any sentries silently, penetrate the main building, locate the intelligence vault, extract the files, and escape before dawn. Any mistake would likely result in her death or capture. At midnight, Sarah began her descent from the ridge. The terrain was treacherous in the darkness, with loose rocks and steep slopes threatening to reveal her position. She moved with extreme caution, testing each step before committing her weight. The slightest sound could alert the guards below and ruin her only chance at success. The outer perimeter was protected by motion sensors and razor wire. Sarah had observed their placement during the day and knew there was a narrow gap where she could slip through undetected. The gap was barely wide enough for her small frame, and one wrong move would trigger the alarms. She held her breath as she squeezed through the opening, feeling the razor wire brush against her clothing. Once inside the compound, Sarah found herself in a nightmare scenario. Guards were everywhere, and their patrol route seemed random in the darkness. She was forced to hide behind buildings and equipment, waiting for opportunities to move forward. Every shadow could conceal an enemy, and every sound seemed amplified in the night air. The first guard she encountered was smoking a cigarette near the main building's side entrance. Sarah approached from behind, moving like a ghost across the courtyard. Her military training had taught her how to eliminate sentries silently, and she applied these skills with deadly efficiency. The guard never knew what hit him as Sarah's knife found its mark. Sarah dragged the body into the shadows and studied the entrance. It was secured with both an electronic lock and a traditional key mechanism. She would need to disable both systems without triggering any alarms. The electronic component was more sophisticated than she had expected, but her specialized equipment was designed for exactly this type of challenge. Working by feel in the darkness, Sarah connected her lock-picking device to the electronic system. The device worked silently, analyzing the lock's programming and searching for vulnerabilities. Meanwhile, she used traditional lockpicks on the mechanical components. Her hands were steady despite the extreme pressure, and both locks yielded to her expertise. The door opened silently, revealing a darkened corridor inside the main building. Sarah stepped inside and immediately felt the difference in atmosphere. The air was cooler and carried the scent of electronics and concrete. Emergency lighting cast eerie shadows on the walls, and she could hear the distant hum of air conditioning systems. According to their intelligence, the vault was located in the basement level, accessible through a stairwell at the end of the main corridor. Sarah moved carefully through the building, her senses alert for any sign of guards or security systems. The corridor seemed longer than it had appeared in the photographs, and every step felt like it might be her last. She reached the stairwell without incident and began her descent to the basement level. The stairs were concrete and metal, built to withstand explosions and attacks. Each step echoed softly despite her careful movements, and Sarah winced at every sound. The basement level was even more heavily secured than the upper floors, with additional electronic surveillance and pressure-sensitive floor panels. The intelligence vault door appeared before her like the entrance to a tomb. It was a massive steel barrier with multiple locking mechanisms and what appeared to be a time-delayed system. Sarah realized that this would be her greatest challenge yet.